All right, I want to make this quick little video for you, and I want to talk about really how big of a calorie deficit should you be on to maximize your results. You see, the goal of a proper cutting plan is to do three things really. One is to put you in a calorie deficit so you're going to lose fat. You're going to lose weight. If you're in a calorie deficit, fat loss will occur. That's how your body gets energy from. For example, let's say you burn 2,500 calories per day and you only consume 2,000. Well, your body has to make up that 500 calorie deficit from somewhere. So usually it will tap into its fat stores, or worst case scenario, it'll tap into your muscle stores, which you don't really want to happen. So the first goal is put your body in a calorie deficit so you can lose fat. The second goal is to maintain your muscle mass, and you do so by maintaining your strength. And that's actually why I talk about the importance of lifting heavy, taking longer rest periods, not training too much so you get better recovery, so you can really actually make strength gains. A lot of people that do my programs actually make strength gains on my program because of the way I set it up. And it also comes down to not being in too big of a caloric deficit. If you're in too big of a caloric deficit, it's very difficult to hold on to all of your muscle. And it's also important to get enough protein, get enough carbs to support glycogen levels and training. And that's number two. And third, really, it is to maintain an optimal metabolism. You don't want your metabolism to slow down. You don't want your cravings and your appetite to become ravenous on a diet plan, And the fourth one, really, I forgot there's four, is really to make it enjoyable so you can stick to it so it's not killing you. So one, be in a calorie deficit to lose fat. Two, set it up so you can maintain muscle. Three, maintain your metabolism by also, maybe doing strategic refeeds, doing after, 2-3 months of cutting, doing a month of, higher calories to bring up your metabolism, getting enough carbs to limit the drop off of leptin. That's really helping maintain, your metabolism. And finally, of course, making it enjoyable so you can stick to it, setting up in a way where, it's so easy. For me, really setting up it in an intermittent fasting plan is very, very effective. Now that we have that, in mind, how big should your calorie deficit be if you want to lose fat? You see, if someone's got weight to lose, often they want to lose it very fast. They don't like how they look. They want to get it done and over with. And that's really the wrong mentality. I don't teach this in the least. When I used to have this mentality of getting lean as fast as possible, I ran into a number of issues. I never really got to my goal. It was only when I really embraced the fact that it's going to take time, that I'm going to enjoy and really accept the process, that I was finally able to reach my goal. So it's really important that you have to accept the process, accept it's going to take time. And the mindset should be, I just want to look a little bit better every single week. Every single week, I want to look a little bit better and be more confident and be more dedicated to my plan. If you have that mindset, you're going to see amazing results. Just look a little bit better, just a tiny bit better. If you have the mindset of, I want to lose this weight fucking like crazy, you're gonna rush the process. You're gonna make the whole diet miserable. You're gonna set up a bad relationship. You're gonna feel guilty when you finally screw up, and it's just gonna be a yo-yo effect. I know this because I went through this for a long, long, long time when I was a bit younger. When I was, in my late teens, early 20s, I went through this a long time, and everyone I've talked to that has this mentality, they never get to their goal. And if they get to their goal, they're never able to stay with it. So the goal should be, I'm just working on getting a little bit better every single week. Now, with that in mind, the calorie deficit is really dependent on a couple things. The first one is really, how much fat do you have to lose? If you're like me, for example, where I'm starting my cut, but I don't have much fat to lose, I just want to lose 4 pounds, 5 pounds. If I put myself in a big deficit where I try and lose 2 pounds a week, I try and do an 800 to 1,000 calorie deficit, it's not going to go well. I'm going to lose strength, I'm going to lose muscle, because the less fat you have to lose, the harder it is for your body to be in a caloric deficit. And this is simply because we're wired for survival. And what the body thinks when food stores are low is that I'm in a calorie shortage. I am in a calorie shortage. I don't have that much food, so I need to preserve my body. And once fat levels get too low, you run into a number of issues. Once you approach essential levels of body fat, you're basically starving to death. And so the less fat you have to lose, the harder it is to put yourself in a calorie deficit, and in a big calorie deficit. So for example, if you're like 10% body fat, you're not going to be losing 2 pounds of fat a week. And if you put yourself in that deficit, a lot of that fat loss, or a lot of that weight loss, will be a mix of muscle and fat. So why make things harder for you just to burn more fat? So in that sense, for people that have, for people that are around, 8 to 15% body fat, and if they want to get a little bit leaner, or 10 to 16, 17% body fat. If they want to get a little leaner, I really recommend they do the Warrior Shredding Program, which shows you how to maintain muscle and strength and take fat loss to the point where you're losing about 4 or 5 pounds of fat a month. That's very optimal. There's refeeds in there to really limit the muscle loss and to really keep your body, keep your metabolism high. And the other thing to note here is that, how well can you handle a bigger calorie deficit? If someone can handle it really well, then that in and of itself is an indicator that you're probably going to maintain most of your muscle. When you get really hungry, really ravenous, it's a sign that your body's tapping into muscle stores. That's my experience. That's what I believe. Simply because some people are more primed to handle bigger deficits than other people, and they can do so in a much better way. Now the second thing, so that's the first one, really, how much fat do you have to lose? Now for someone that's 20% body fat, 30% body fat, they have a lot of fat availability. They have 40, 50, 60 pounds of fat on them to lose. So their body, from a physiological standpoint, they can handle a bigger deficit. They can lose 2 pounds a week, sometimes even 3 pounds a week, just by simply cutting their calories to a large degree. And because they have all this fat actually promotes leptin levels. It increases. The more fat you have, the more leptin levels. And so when you have a lot of circulating leptin levels by carrying so much fat, your metabolism will not get affected as much when you cut your calories. That's a fact. Your metabolism will not get affected as much when you cut your calories. And you'll also, be able to better handle that calorie deficit. So for someone that has, 30, 40 pounds to lose, I actually say if you can handle going a bit lower in calories, go for it. So if someone that's 250 pounds, they don't need to eat at a little 500 calorie deficit. They can put themselves in a bigger deficit, to the point, at least as long as they can handle it for. And really, that's kind of a couple things to think about as far as how big should your calorie deficit be. So for people that have a lot of weight to lose, I would say take your goal body weight. If you're 250, you want to be 200, take it, times it by 11. That's 2,200 calories. Try that. Do the fast. Can you stick to that after a week? How are you feeling? If you're maintaining strength, that's a good sign that you're maintaining muscle and that the diet is good. If you need to go a little bit higher because you're having a lot of hunger issues, that's okay. Go a little higher. Bump it up to 2,400. But as long as you're getting a little bit leaner every week, a little bit, couple percent better every week, then keep going. Now, if you have 5 to 15 pounds of fat to lose, do not go in a big aggressive deficit. Take your body weight, times it by 12. That's a good starting point. Throw in a higher calorie day every week. After, depending on how lean you are, after about 1 to 2 months of cutting, spend a month eating at maintenance. Lock down that body fat that you achieved. This is really the strategy that's going to allow you to get very, very lean and maintain it and feel good, maintain your hormones on it. A lot of people that do contest dieting, they'll spend 4 months cutting consecutively and try and get down to 5%, 6% body fat, and their hormones get wiped. Their metabolism gets down-regulated, and I wouldn't suggest that in the least. When you have less fat to lose, it's important to get it, spend a month, 4 to 6 weeks, maybe up to 2 months, dropping a little bit of fat, and then boom, hit that maintenance period, lock down that body fat. And when you've been cutting for a while, your body's primed to pack on muscle. It actually works very well. That's why people that do a long cut, once they start eating more again, they fill out really fast. So capitalize on that. Capitalize on that by doing a little bit of a cut, getting a few percent body fat leaner, and then boom, lock it down, get a little bit stronger, get a little bit more muscle, and then get to the next level. My Warrior Shredding Program, I talk about the 3 levels of, really solid leanness: cut, chiseled, and shredded. So when you get to cut, lockdown cut, spend even more. Spend 3 months being cut, that 10 to 12% body fat point. Then when you're ready, lean down to that chiseled state where, you're like Patrick Bateman. Cut being like James Bond, chisel being like Patrick Bateman in American Psycho or Brad Pitt in Troy. Get that really nice, crisp level of leanness. And then if, for fun, a photo shoot, a vacation, you want to get shredded and you want to get down to 6 to 8% body fat, well, lock down chisel first, then go. That's just what I want to talk about here. I think this is going to be really valuable for you. It's really important to internalize this because, very few people are going to go from 16% body fat down to 7% body fat in one swoop. Probably they're going to get to 12%. They're going to have to maintain that for a month or two. Then they're gonna ready to get down to 9%, and they're gonna have to maintain that for a little bit. And then maybe they're 9%, they're not even gonna wanna get to 7. They're gonna wanna do a little bit of a bulk, and then maybe they push themselves back up to 10, 11%. And they go, this is how this is how you coax your body fat to a lean state. This is how it's done. People that maintain low body fat, this is how they do it. And it's very effective. If you want to actually get your body to a point where it's primed to stay lean, this is the plan of attack that you would take. Now, I'm currently working on making the 2.0 version of my Warrior Shredding program. We're going to be relaunching that soon. Everyone that has it, of course, will get it for free. I don't believe in, if you buy it once, I'm going to give you the best version as possible. So I'm going to make some updates to it. I'm going to talk about some really cool stuff and make this a really amazing, actionable 6 to 12 month program. So I'm very excited for that. And then people have more fat to lose. I push them in the direction of doing aggressive fat loss if they can handle it. And you know what? The crazy thing is most people that do my AFL, do my Warrior Shredding, I often hear, hey, I'm so satisfied. This is crazy. I very rarely hear I'm having hunger issues. Although that happens. If you have hunger issues, sometimes you have to just push through it and your body gets used to it because the first 3 to 7 days can be uncomfortable. Or sometimes, your metabolism is just higher than the average person for your weight, your body size. You just have to add those 200 calories and that solves. Sorry about that. My phone just died. But basically, if you add those 200 calories, sometimes that solves it and you still experience the right level of fat loss because hunger is a sign of being in a big deficit. If it's true hunger. And this is why I love intermittent fasting because it breaks the attachment and breaks false hunger. When you fast, you are breaking the attachment of having hunger for a false reason. For example, a lot of people eat when they're bored. When you fast, you destroy that attachment of just eating for a reason. And so usually if you're really hungry, it's a sign that you're in too big of a deficit. So adding 200 calories or 300, depending on, how hungry you are, depending on your activity level, can really solve it and you experience fat loss at the right point. But a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll try and push through it. If it's too much hunger, they'll try and push through it. And then eventually their willpower breaks. And then instead of just having the 200 or 300 calories that would put them in the right deficit, they end up feeling guilty and they binge eat. They eat that one cookie and they feel guilty, they binge eat. And then that leads them to overeating and then gaining fat. So you want to avoid that mentality. I know I covered a lot of stuff in this video, but that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I'm going to put my physique quiz below so you can actually learn about what program of mine is the best for you. And if you end up in the Warrior Shredding camp, you can get the program. And then in a few more weeks, you'll get the new updated version, which will be really cool. So you might actually want to join that now because when we do all the updates and everything, we might actually have to increase the price because we're bringing so much more value. And so it has to reflect the value we provide based on the other courses, so on and so forth. So you can check out the quiz below. I'm also going to try and do a lot more of these videos, just answering simple little fitness, diet questions. I think they're really helpful. My goal for this channel is to really be helpful, do these little videos on my phone and just keep it helpful because I want to help you on this journey. That's my goal. That's my passion. And if you want to see my daily posts, daily content, but what I'm doing in my life, then you can really follow me on Instagram. I'll put in my Instagram tag in the description, so you can check it out at Gregor Gallagher. We just got verified, which is pretty cool. I'm excited about that. That's all I wanted to say. The final thing is in a few more weeks, we're going to have our new supplements coming out. We have the Kino Octane and the new flavors, watermelon and grape. They are amazing. I'm really proud of the supplement. I take it every day, and my training's been much better. I've been hitting some pretty crazy PRs on my lifts, and I found that the Octane has been really helping me hit that consistency in the gym. Because sometimes you have good workouts, sometimes you have bad workouts. The Octane really helps keep that consistency so every workout is solid. You don't have the ups and downs, so you better make those strength gains. That's what I've noticed for myself. You're not going to see crazy results right away, but after several months having that good consistency, you start to really see those, that needle moving forward as far as your PRs, which is very cool. And then we're going to have our Kino Gain supplement come out, which is our creatine supplement, all natural, organic, and we're adding a couple other ingredients to improve results to that. So that's very cool. And we have our blue light blocking glasses coming out to really improve sleep and mood and all that. So I'm very excited about the blue light blockers. We made them really cool. We found the technology to have clear lenses, very fashionable, very stylish. I'm waiting for them to be sent to me so I can start wearing them every day. Especially when I'm up late. I'm up late on my computer, often until 2, 3 in the morning. And then it can be, it's not ideal to have all that light streaming in. It's not good for your circadian rhythm. It's not good for your eye health. It's not good for your mood. So I'm really pumped about that. And that's all I want to say, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the channel. I really appreciate all of you. We're going to do more really cool, simple content. I'm not promising big, epic videos, just simple content to solve your questions, to answer your questions. So if you're here to learn a little bit more about fitness, a little bit more about getting lean, a little bit more about getting stronger, a little bit more about building the body you want, a little bit more about, having the right mindset, the right, the right outlook, then come here. If you want just flash and entertainment, this is really not the right place for you to be. So I want you to really just keep that in mind. And thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.